Okay, so we're here. It's nearly the end of season in the Premier League. We're going to speak to Newcastle fans, find out who their end of season awards go to. Let us know your thoughts and comments below. So, very first question is, who's the player of the season for Newcastle?
Anthony Gordon.
Yep.
I think it has to be. I mean, his goal contributions were fantastic. When we first signed him, don't get us wrong, I absolutely hated him at the start. When he played for Everton, rat. However, coming to us, and he's just fantastic, isn't he? I mean, the quality he's got, he's shown it this season, and next season I think he'll go even further.
Yeah, you spat that out very, very quickly as well. We've had Isaac, who's had a really good season. Bruno, we've had a few others. Gordon, is he head and shoulders for you then?
I think, he is. I mean, Bruno is one of those players where we all love him, and he goes about his work quietly, really.
Yeah.
And I think he's shown another side of his game this season, is patience. I mean, 100% I'd have put all my life savings on him to get that yellow card in the ban. But to have kind of the composure to be like, right, no, I'm not going to take him down. I'm not going to take him down. There's a few times where I've thought it's worth taking him down. He's through on goal. But he goes about his work quietly, and Isaac, isn't he? I mean, he's sensational. The best striker we've had. Sorry, mate. Since Shearer, easily.
So the very first question is, who was Newcastle's player of the season in your opinion?
Or Anthony Gordon for me. I think he's really shined this season. Great investment in talent, and hopefully on the plane to Euros as well. Hopefully Germany.
It was the last guy said exactly the same with Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
We were here when Gordon signed. A lot of people thought we've overpaid. He's not going to be that great and stuff like that. Were you one of them people, or how did you see it when you come in? If you're being honest.
Well, a funny story. My best mate is an Everton fan, so I loved it. Taking their top talents to our club,
Possibly relegated.
Yeah, I love it. But I think a lot of money to pay, but that English price tag you pay. But it's been quality, and actually in the summer I think only a few more additions and we're doing all right. I think.
Yeah, he's lived up to it and looks like a bargain, really. Looking
definitely.
back at it.
Gordon.
I would say Gordon. There's been a few really good sort of consistent performers, but just for the sheer sort of excitement of how he plays, Gordon's got to be it.
Okay. My choice would probably be Anthony Gordon. He's certainly found his form, and he's been adopted well by the club. I think going forward he's a good basis for the future of the club and the team. Yep. So especially going into Europe, hopefully. What
were your thoughts when you signed him, if you're being honest? Because we were here when the signing happened and everyone thought, we've overpaid for him and stuff like that. He seems to have almost universally changed that completely around.
Yeah, I think he was a good buy. Not everyone got behind him at first because it's moving to a new club. He had to find his feet. But once he's settled in and found his position under Eddie, then he's been flying.
It makes a better story as well. Someone who's actually come in, grafted for their reputation rather than a superstar or whatever. So the next young player of the season,
Lewis Miley. Has to be Lewis Miley.
Aye, Lewis Miley, but Tino's come in and done a great job as well. So I would say Tino, and Gordon still classes a young player, doesn't he? So, but Tino for the amount of games he's played, Lewis for how much of an impact he's made as well.
And then young player of the season,
Gordon again. Yeah, I think Isaac was put up for it, wasn't he? Isaac was put up for it, and I was just thinking, he's 25. It's young, but in terms of football career, it's like you kind of at your prime at that point. So it has to be Gordon again.
Young player of the season.
Lewis Miley's got to be. He's come through really well. Stepped up, especially in December and January when we needed him. On those big European nights as well. When I was 17, I wasn't doing that, so it's a fair play to him.
A huge step up to look all right in the
massive.
Well, the young player of the season.
It's got to be Lewis Miley.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he's been injured for the past few games, but he is a massive talent for the future of the club, and it's amazing that he's a local talent as well. He is going to be a big superstar.
Yeah, he's got big competition next season because obviously Tonali and everyone will be fit next season as well.
Yeah.
If we don't get into Europe, would you loan him out, or do you think he'll get game time? How do you see his next season going?
I think because of his performance this season, I don't think he'll loan him out. I think he'll keep him, and Eddie will probably rotate the squad, and he'll have more option to rotate the squad. Whereas what we've suffered this season with injuries, we haven't had the chance to have that squad rotation for the lower cup games. We could put the young players out, so I think he'll stay, and he's certainly because he's signed a contract as well. So
again, and then goal of the season.
go with Fabian Schär, PSG. Yeah, I mean,
that was mine as well.
it absolutely has to be. It was the moment as well. I mean, even if he put a bottom corner or anything like that, it's still the goal of the season. It was the atmosphere that came from it, and the reaction from everyone was
Goal of the season.
Oh, it's a difficult one, that. Fabian Schär against PSG.
Has to be sheer excitement. Well, yeah, it's got to be.
That moment of the season as well, because that's the next one.
Probably. I mean, you could argue Miggy's first goal against PSG was like sort of, that got the excitement levels going, but Shaw's fourth, like, just class. Absolute class.
Yeah, I agree.
I quite liked Murphy's goal against Tottenham. Because I think everyone, including Murphy, was shocked that it actually went in the goal. So, and that was a good game. So yeah, I would pick that one.
Moment of the season.
Moment of the season, I reckon it's got to be PSG 4-1. You know, I wasn't here unfortunately, but hell of a game watching that. Loved it.
We ask this every year, and I think this time it's the easiest one there. Flop of the season. Now, for flop, it can be someone who maybe you had high expectations and they've not lived up to your expectations. Who's had a bad season, would you say? What to pick?
Do I have to answer? I have a thing against Dan Burton, but when he moved to centre half, he's not a flop.
Yeah.
Left back, flop. Flop. Missed a flop. But centre half, fine.
Ooh. I think Sean Longstaff's dropped off quite a lot this season. I think last season he was just an engine in the midfield, running all over really, but he hasn't lived up to the expectations this season.
Yeah, for the players who've played this season, Longstaff, obviously Tonali for me, I think the excitement when we got him in the summer was really high, and the fact that he hasn't been able to play was disappointing. So, yeah, I would probably say him.
I think Emil on, but I don't think that's his fault. I think injuries. I think last season he was brilliant, and his volley against Palace last season was goal of the season last season. I was counting this season, but yeah, bless him, and maybe it's time to maybe move on.
Yeah, perfect. And then breakout star of the season as well, other than Gordon.
Now you're asking. It's between Tino, Hall, and Anderson for me.
Yeah.
But if I had to give it to one, I don't think Hall got a fair shot, like a fair roll of the dice this season. And when he's been playing, he's been fantastic. It's what we've been missing on that left side. Someone that can progress with the ball, kind of bring other players into it rather than turn around and pass back to the keeper.
And then the breakout star of the season, so not necessarily a young player, just someone who's had a really good season, breakout style.
I think Lewis Hall has done quite well. Being a young player and then being thrown in the mix with injuries, and certainly since he's been announced that he's been signed, or the contract, the obligation's been met, that he's become a different player, and he seems comfortable and happy, and he's another talent that we're going to have to keep and mature and work
exciting season for him next season at Newcastle then. So as well,
I reckon. It's a really good question. Do you know what, strange one. I love Dan Burn at centre back, so I think moving centre back for him is a much better asset for the club. Done a great job at left back when he needed to be there. Yeah. But I think bring him into the middle as centre back, Livramento and then Lewis Hall as well on the right and left is giving them opportunity as well. So yeah, Dan Burn centre back.
Perfect. Other than maybe Gordon, because I know he's had him as player of the season.
Yeah, Isaac, I think maybe. I think last season he was good last season, still good, but not scoring as many as he has this season. I think he's been top class this season.
I'm probably seeing the same kind of player again, like sort of Tino again. Like for me, I know I said young player of the season, but he's really come in and done a cracking job. Like, so I'll probably say him.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. And then underrated player of the season, someone that doesn't get the credit they deserve this season.
Longstaff.
Yeah.
Massive engine. Does the ugly bits really well, but you need those bits being done really well. He breaks the play up, and that transition play from defence to attack is awesome. So yeah.
And then
yeah, it's. I mean, I was not a massive fan of Sean Longstaff for a long time, but he has put a really hard shift in this season, and playing the last few games with an injury and fighting for the team when there's no one else to fill that spot. It would have to be him.
Fabian Schär. I think he's one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. So I think definitely Fabian Schär.
Yeah, again, similar, but I would say Dubravka. In all honesty, I think nobody expected Dubravka to play as many games as he has done. I think obviously he's a level down from Pope, but I think he's done a good job, to be fair. And I think he's kept winning games as well. So Dubravka probably.
And then Premier League team of the season. Who gets in out of Newcastle players?
Isaac and Gordon for me, those two there. I think Isaac has proven he's a Premier League striker, 20 goals, first time since Shearer. That's no mean feat.
He's had injuries as well.
Yeah, exactly. And if it wasn't for Haaland, he'd probably be top of the pops. So and Gordon, I think just loved how he's just fearless, takes the ball on, attacks, and yeah, I think those have been awesome for us season.
I try not to be deluded or biased. Isaac, probably in there.
Second Haaland, do you reckon if they're doing a
4-4-2? If you're doing a 4-4-2, I'm putting Fabian Schär in there. He's been absolutely solid. Not put a foot wrong this season. Unfortunately, injured for the last few games of the season. But now we'll stick with Isaac and Gordon. I think.
I would have probably Isaac's, certainly Bruno, and I would like to have Trippier and Burn in there as well, for their performances this season. And if Callum Wilson was fit, then we put Callum Wilson in as well, but it's hit and miss whether he's fit or not. So
overall Premier League team of the season, how many Newcastle players get in it and who?
Just this season.
Just this season, yeah.
I think Bruno's been class this season. Gordon again. Isaac. I think that's probably it for me.
Yeah.
The thing is, you compare them against some good players in those positions as well, aren't you? I would say I would love Shaw to be in there because I think he's had a really steady season. But you've got some good centre backs in other teams. Again, Bruno's got a lot of competition in the centre midfield. To me, Gordon's got to be in there, and then Isaac is definitely on the same level as the likes of other people have been mentioned, like Watkins, Solanke, Haaland even, do you know what I mean? He's been on the same level. So for me, Gordon and Isaac would probably be the two because there's less competition for me.
Eddie Howe as well, where does he fit in the manager of the season? And we're asking this a little bit premature, but this is the last home game because we don't know if he's going to qualify for Europe, we don't know who's going to win the league, we don't know if Emery's going to get top four. How would you rate Howe in overall Premier League this season, managers?
I think he's done great. Yeah, it's probably on paper compared to last season not as good, but I think he's done a better job this season. I think we've had a real tough injury, pre-Christmas in January. But since national break, he's come back, and I love Eddie Howe. His tactics are brilliant. He seems to really approach each game what's needed. And yeah, I think he's done a great job. It won't be Premier League manager of the season, because there's probably ones who won the league and done better, but awesome. And I'm happy with that. I don't need a shout about him. We love him. That's all that matters.
This season,
Pretty high. Yeah. I think the injuries has been completely underestimated. I mean, like by the pundits and things like that. So I'd definitely rank them pretty high. And how many points are we off? I think we're not that many points off where we finished last season. It's been a tough season this year, and there's teams that are on a late run of form. We got West Ham. Well, not West Ham, but West Ham were doing well. Chelsea have started to kind of bite at our tails. But I'd probably put them maybe like third or fourth. I think Emery. I think you got Emery, Guardiola. Probably third, like Emery, Guardiola ahead of him, yeah.
Fantastic, Aston Villa, getting them top four and stuff like that. It's a huge achievement.
I'm not the biggest fan of them, but then I'm happy to see someone else up there. It just makes a change and makes it a bit more exciting.
100%.
Again, I know we just talk about what we see from Newcastle's point of view, but we've had so many injuries, he's had so much to sort of contend with. He's got to be up there again, you know what I mean? I know he's not going to win manager of the season, and there's been managers who've arguably performed better than he has, but for what we've had to contend with, the fact that we're fighting to potentially sixth, maybe even fifth, fingers crossed.
Who would you give it to then?
The manager of the season, Emery probably. But there again, somebody mentioned this as well, which I agree with. Howe didn't get it last season, and he came fourth. Was that fair? Emery getting it this season for just going fourth, you know what I mean? So, but again, I mean, Villa, I wouldn't have expected them to be fighting as high as they have been this season. So to me, I mean, what's the Bournemouth manager called? Iriola, he's done great for Bournemouth as well. I would put Howe in the top five. Top five, definitely.
Yeah, agree. Top five.
Yeah.
He's done a job that no one else could have done at this club.
Especially with the injuries as well.
With the injuries, you look around the other managers around the Premier League and even Europe, and when they get a few injuries, they struggle. And then they start blaming the players and the club, this, that, the other. Eddie just finds a way. He looks at what he's got in training, he works on a solution, and then he brings out a team that can do something. So for me, he's been if he doesn't win Manager of the Year award or whatever it is, it's a robbery because he's done a fantastic job.